Hey guys, welcome back to another part. We're in Ennisburg. We just in the last episode had like this climactic battle with saving the Indians from a fight with the military at some in the Cornwall tar factory or something, or the Jameson tar factory. Could it actually also be? Wait, where was that? I think maybe it was here, the Heartland oil fields, but I'm not too sure. I think there's also near. No, yeah, Cornwall kerosene and tar. Yeah, I do think it was here. Not fully sure, but it was a pretty big battle. Afterwards, the unfortunately during the battle, the Indian son died. Dutch turned out to be a stab in the back. He left pretty much Arthur to die, while yeah, there was a soldier on top of him with a knife at his throat, and he scurried away. And so that was all pretty much lots of going ons. So the next mission is going back to camp, back to Dutch. And in the previous episode, we also read one newspaper. I spent quite a lot of time figuring out which newspapers I already read and which were still unread. That's because it's quite a confusing inventory. It's not like chronological, or it doesn't seem to be really ordered in the order of buying them, or the numbering of the newspapers itself, or it's just I couldn't really see any structure into it, so it was quite some figuring out what was read and what wasn't. And I narrowed it down to 4 newspapers that I here bought in the previous episode in Ennisburg, like these new Hanover Gazettes. I will leave them be for later on because reading each newspaper takes quite a while. Then there was 2 Saint Denis Times that weren't read yet, the 49 and the 50. And the 49 we read in the previous episode, and I think it's good if I for now read number 50 as well, immediately after. So that the only ones that are left for now are the bottom 4, the new Hanover Gazettes. Otherwise, if I start reading in like 10 episodes from now, I will have to do a whole inventarization again of what was read and what wasn't read. I mean, they're not marked. You cannot mark them as read or anything. It's just a blurb. There's here 45, 44, 47, and number 27. It's just a blurb of yeah, how it appears in the inventory menu. So to avoid that, I want to have it a bit streamlined. I will read the number 50 Saint Denis Time, probably the last paper from Saint Denis. And then later on we can do the new Hanover Gazette. And maybe also you can buy different newspapers from, for instance, Strawberry. I think there's also a newspaper guy in Strawberry. But we will buy them later, maybe when free roaming after the main campaign, if I will do that. But if I do, I could also check out those newspapers, because no, in Strawberry there is not a newspaper seller. Maybe they also disappeared, of course, because of the time of day. I guess it's pretty late currently. But let's check Valentine. Where the hell is Valentine? Over there. Is there a newspaper, dude? No, there used to be one here. Here it is, I guess. Newspaper seller. Oh, this is the new Hanover Gazette that's being sold over there. So that's good to know. We have, I think there's actually a third type of paper. I up until now only read the new Hanover Gazette and the Saint Denis Time. But here is, for instance, the other one. That's like the Blackwater Ledger. I haven't bought any one of those yet, so that is also for the future. But for now, at least, let's keep it with the finish the Saint Denis Times, last edition. I guess it will be. Then I will read the 4 leftover new Hanover Gazettes, and then I will buy some more Blackwater Ledgers. So it's really like quite a chore to get that all done. But it is pretty much a chore. And some articles are meh. But there are certainly fun articles, like commenting on actions that we undertook in the game world, and also sometimes giving hints on stuff that will probably happen in the game. For instance, there was early an article about military and Indian tensions rising. That culminated in the battle that we just fought in the last episode. So it's also good to get a grip on maybe potentially upcoming events. And it's also good to really dive into the world. What is happening around the world, what is reported on. There are also like articles unrelated to our own adventures. So it's just for the lore of the game. It really pays off, I think, to read them. So let's read the Saint Denis Times number 50 and afterwards get on with the missions. Just like, for instance, reading all these billboards, they also really give like
packs of savages all covered in furs hunting for scalps in the mountains. Makes me wish I was young again. I'd take care of those bastards myself.
What's this place coming to?
Yeah. Also, these billboards, they really give like an insight into what was being produced in the Wild West. It's actually, I think, historically pretty accurate, everything. Of course, it are fictional names, but like beer and champagne. I, for instance, didn't knew that champagne already existed in the Wild West, but apparently it did. New Hanover Brewing Company, premium brewing, the finest lager beer bottled at our brewery. Alright, fine. Let's read a newspaper. Hopefully this is sufficient a light source, but let's see. Because these light sources do tend to flicker a bit, which makes it hard to read the newspapers like in the physical copy. The digital letters, it's like easy, but the physical copy is way more immersive. So I try to keep that at hand. No, we now have like this super annoying shade. Maybe if I do it like this, shadow. Yes, that's better. Alright, the famous Red Mist secret liquor cure. Administer Red Mist secret liquor cure and watch as the effects of over imbibing wash away. Stay secluded from sunshine. Alright, also the advertisements in the newspaper are pretty funny, I must say. Croup. A note to all mothers, do not grow despondent when your children suffer from croup. Mr. McDonough's soothing syrup will rid your children of croup. This fantastic remedy cures always. Doctors recommend it. Alright, first article, contamination. Water undrinkable. Bizarre sickness spread. This is, for instance, one of the articles on a mission that we did. That was like with that mine near Butcher's Creek that was contaminated. Water undrinkable, bizarre sickness spreads. Roanoke towns are often plagued with poverty, superstition and maladies, but after deformities began to appear among residents of rural Butcher Creek, the townspeople say the area may be cursed. Contaminants were found and some accused the Roanoke Mountain Fuel Company of fouling the local drinking water, resulting in large goiters, rashes, sores and psychosis. The symptoms also point to lead poisoning similar to those seen in plumbers and painters, with victims becoming unusually pale and weak. The eponymously named Creek and Elysian Pool are polluted. Named Creek and Elysian Pool, though residents will not seek action against the mining company and are instead seeking a spiritual solution to their problems. Yeah, that's the weird thing. They were like super superstitious in that mission. It was pretty funny. But the eponymously named...
That's just the well-natured things, I guess.
I don't understand that sentence. The eponymously named... Creek and Elysian Pool. But that's a weird grammar. Named Creek and Elysian Pool. I think they are called Elysian, which would be eponymously, whatever that means. But then it doesn't make sense, because it's like an adverb at pool and not at creek. I would say the eponymously named... maybe eponymously is something else. 1 second. I also forgot to put the timer, so let's put that now. 1 second, making it a learning moment. What the hell is eponymously? Eponymously meaning of a person being the person after whom a literary work film is named, the eponymous hero in the film. Alright, after the character, so I guess. Wait, go back. Of, relating to, or being the person or thing for whom or which something is named. The eponymously named Creek and Elysian Pool. Alright, then what does Elysian mean? Elysian meaning. The adjective Elysian described a blissful state, like the one most people hope to enjoy on a Hawaiian vacation. Alright, that's actually pretty positive. Alright, I don't really understand that sentence. Let's just keep it at that. The eponymously named Creek and Elysian Pool. But Elysian is like blissful. And the people over there aren't really blissful, or the settlement. Maybe the area was once a time before it got polluted. But then I would say named Elysian Creek and Pool. I don't understand why Creek is not... didn't get the adverb. But I'm carrying away, sorry, I'm babbling. Anyways, that was... that article. Tensions high. Fears of return to Indian war. Army in Amberino on edge. Fort Wallace requests more troops. The management of the reservation is a cumbersome business, and the fact that issues occasionally arise is not the fault of the administration or Congress. Money is appropriated quite liberally and honestly for the care of the Indian people. The children are taught something of hygiene, fed and clothed, and given shelter, yet still the Indians contaminate their own water and end up spreading typhoid to all and sundry. The Indian problem will not solve itself. The Crow, Shoshone, Cheyenne, and even the Navajo have signed treaties and been moved to very generous reservations, taking to agricultural life and the tenets of Christianity. However, those contained at the Wapiti Indian Reservation remain warlike, spurred on by their chief and his son. Military officials stationed at nearby Fort Wallace warn that armed hostilities are a distinct possibility. These Indians, acting in conjunction and harmony with government officials, could prosper and become friends to the Americans who have tamed the lands from New York to California. Instead, exhibiting savagery, ingratitude, and surly behavior, the treacherous Indians falsely accuse mistreatment. In light of all the tensions reported in the region, Washington has sent another military delegation to try to reduce the tensions. Alright. Blackwater athletics team missing. Friends fear that they have been fully dealt with. Members of the Blackwater athletics... I'm reading the pop-up about treasure maps, but already read that before. Members of the Blackwater Athletics Club are still missing, and their friends and family are excited by the gravest fears. They were last seen leaving the north edge of town for a group of athletics run, and although the most thorough search has been made of them. They cannot be found. They were last seen leaving the north edge of town for a group of athletics run. What's a group of athletics run? It's like just an athletics run. Why a group of athletics run? Whatever. They cannot be found. Certain facts around their disappearance have given cause for suspicion. The affairs, I'm reading it from here because it's on the edge. That's super annoying. You cannot read the edge letters on the physical copy. The affairs has created a sensation in Blackwater and the surrounding community. They had departed on a run and had intended to return the same evening. Their friends are making a diligent search and police in neighboring areas have been notified. At first there were rumors they have been kidnapped by Indians, however this appears to be false, as no tribes have engaged in theft of livestock or kidnapping in some years. The Blackwater athletics team were training for a competitive meet next month and were expected to take top honors in fencing, wrestling and baseball. Doors of Iron down. Convicts escape Sisika's dungeons. Prison is a cage of wild animals. Crack of rifles heard for miles. Escapees flee via boats. Sisika Penitentiary is a well-known cage filled with men who resemble wild beasts, seething, taciturn and surly. In premeditated action, some of the striped felons broke free of their cages. The precipitated panic that ensued resulted in a gunfight with guards. A man and woman assisted the escape of one felon as convicts wrenched the iron doors from their cells and a volley of bullets flew in every direction, killing convicts and guards in equal numbers. The interior was left a mess of ruins as the savages and animals were eventually rounded up and returned to their dungeons. Prison. Governor Heston Jameson said the prisoner escaped via a waiting boat that whisked him and his accomplices away. One moment. Man of woman's escape of one felon. Alright. Jameson says several days prior to the panic, a flying balloon was seen high overhead, now thought to have assisted in the breakout. Several of the men confined on the island believed their sentences to be unfair as they were given multiple years for desertion during times of war. It is unknown how many died as prison officials are still putting together an official report and tally. Love letter to Wall Street, 25 million in tax dollars given. Wall Street banks are expressing worry that the public is displaying misplaced outrage and indignation over the pouring of 25 million in tax dollars into the stock exchange to protect asset values. They say it is needed because of the inelastic rules of the national banking system. However, many say that is a gross misrepresentation of the facts. Public is indignant. Wall Street has been fighting against government regulation for many years now. Senior bankers argue the claim that the only way the system can work is for them to get handouts of tax dollars is a ludicrous assertion. Senior banks argue the claim, okay, and that the system works as intended. Alright. It's like a bit of a throwback, or like, yeah, it's like a reference to the 2008 financial crisis, I guess. Just like also the whole Chinese issue and stuff, there's quite some references to the current political climate or the modern political occurrences in the newspapers here in Saint Denis, because it also references like the threat of jobs being lost by immigrants, which is of course a reference to Donald Trump and all the proponents and objectors. And here you see like a little throwaway to the, or a little reference to the financial crisis, which can be quite fun. But actually, I also prefer not to have too many of those depressing political real-time issues carrying over into my games, in which I try to escape reality a bit. But yeah, it is what it is. Refrigerating machine invented. Replaces larder and root cellar in homes. The need for a constant replenishment of blocks of ice in order to keep the ice box well stocked and cool might be a thing of the past. A patent has been filed for a mechanical refrigerator that does not require replenishment of ice, no matter how hot the weather outside. A regulator automatically controls the flow of refrigerating medium in the pipes of the apparatus through use of thermostatic pressure and a compressor. The device would allow the grocer or butcher to preserve meats and fish at a constant temperature and no longer worry about spoilage. God damn it, it's so annoying. Spoilage.
I've done so much walking, I think there's roots growing out of my feet.
Love letter. Due to inclement weather. Alright, let's... I really find they should have cut... Yeah, of course it's not realistic, but cut the articles at the edge, because I want to read it as immersive as possible, like real time. So either you should be able to... And because that's currently not possible, because you cannot read the articles around the edge of the folds. So either you should be able to fold it open in the newspaper, or the articles should simply not cover the folds. Alright, Blackwater Athletics team missing. We already read that one. Now let's continue with this one. For a woman's peculiar ills, there exists no remedy equivalent to Mrs. Magerty's tonic. Mrs. Henrietta Sherborne writes the following letter regarding Miss Magerty's Miss Magerty's. I teach in a schoolroom and suffer from overwork and sleeplessness. At times my friends say I'm incorrigible. What a relief to discover Miss Magerty's. Sometimes it's Magerty's and now it's spelled Miss Magerty's. But whatever. That is a typo. Which is also of course realistic. It also happens in real life printing. A widow friend suggested I try it to relieve all manner of ills. Many suitors come calling, but I have one real friend, and that is a bottle of Miss Magerty's. Anytime I have a female complaint, I take a bottle of Miss Magerty's and I am joyful and well. My neighbor is in the change of life and I introduced her to your lovely tonic and she has spoken of nothing since. Thank you and bless your dear hearts. Ask your druggist for Miss Magerty's and dispel what pleases you. What plagues you. O'Driscoll captured. Reign of terror over. Quick justice expected. Consigned to hangman's noose. For nearly 10 years, citizens of numerous western states have fallen victim to the savagery of Com O'Driscoll and his gang of outlaws. They have robbed coaches, battered women and men alike, murdered, tortured and committed sundry unmentionable atrocities. His wild, hot-headed and impulsive ways are the stuff of outlaw legends. Bounties for his death or capture have long been posted far and wide. That reign of terror came to an end when the leader of the notorious gang, the O'Driscoll boys, was captured during a routine coach inspection by a deputy. O'Driscoll was examined by Judge Taylor the next day. His sentencing was quick and concise. He will be hanged for murder in Saint Denis. Reach for Uncle Earl Bodine's patented health cure. A true medical wonder that cures pain when it will not subdue. At all druggists. The Lanahashi and Midland Rail Company, the fine passenger cars of this line. Arrive and leave the following stations. Appleseed Timber Company, Saint Denis, Flatneck Station, Scarlet Meadows, Rhodes, Saint Denis Docks, Van Horn Trading Post, Annesburg, Grizzlies, Wallace Station. Pinkertons find missing man, originally believed to be murdered. Officials praise the agency. The Pinkerton National Detective Agency has completed a thorough investigation into the case of Immersion, who went missing last month. Conditions at the time of his disappearance led immediately to the theory of murder. However, Pinkerton agents studying his accounts made some startling discoveries. John O'Neill, one of the most popular and widely known merchants in St. Louis, disappeared without a trace last month. Initially thought thrown into the case of Merle who went missing last month. Okay. Disappeared without a trace last month. Initially thought to have been murdered, certain facts tied to his disappearance have given cause for suspicion. Officials hired the Pinkerton agency to investigate. The agents report that Mr. O'Neill was short in his accounts. Through his shop, Mr. O'Neill handled large sums of money and, according to his front, fulfilled his trust honorably. After it was disclosed he was up to 5,000 short on his accounts and had taken to playing cards regularly, the suspicion of his friends was that he had taken his own life. After a thorough search of the hills and surrounding countryside, O'Neill was found in a ravine, half mad and wishing to die, saying he had brought shame on his name and family. Officials and family members praised the agency for solving the mystery and finding O'Neill, who is recuperating from his injuries and exposure. Founded in the 1850s, the Pinkerton Agency has been instrumental in solving several disturbances, including labor disputes, and was even known to have foiled an assassination plot on the president. Old Blood Ice, finest Kentucky bourbon. Pretty funny name. Coos Company, Animal Traps. Sorry. I cannot read that. It's too little print. Plex. Yeah. Alright. Last article. The Art of Angling by Jeremy Gill. These are almost always the most funny, I find. Muskie. Any wise angler knows that a day on the water seeking mussel lunch is a pleasant pastime indeed. A man can be excused for suspending brotherly love at the moment the serene calm is broken by the throbbing tug on his pole, threatening at any second to lose control. He shrieks by the throbbing thug on his pole, threatening at him to lose control. He shrieks with pleasure, moaning as he fights the slimy beast, finally claiming victory, dripping, holding a writhing fish to his manly bosom. Glory and relief are his. The muskie is a predatory fish that favors a lake lure, likes overcast conditions, and fights hard. My fans have begged me to come claim a Alright, I will read it like this. My fans have begged me to claim a monster muskie off the coast of Roanoke Ridge. I may go someday. If I see you, don't be shy. I won't bite. I'm not a muskie after all. Alright, whatever. That really is enough newspapers for me for a while. I'm really getting like almost dizzy reading them. So many articles, and it looks like only one page, but it really is quite a lot to read, especially if you're not a native English speaker. Then it's also like this little layer of which to native speakers comes naturally, but for me there's like this little layer sometimes of consciously comprehending what I'm reading, which if it's like your native tongue will come like automatically. It's like an extra step. Anyways, hello feller.
Howdy, fellers.
Hello.
Hey.
Best pay us on time.
Must get boring all that standing around.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see how much time we have left. 10 minutes. Let's get to camp and then probably I will start the mission in the next episode, because this indeed took like 20 minutes to read, or maybe even longer. Let's eat something. There is our trusty steed. And let's put a marker. And there we go. Let's see if we can squeeze through. Yes, we can.
Nice and easy. Yeah!
Holy shit. Really sounded like... Ah, it's a bear over there. Is the bear going to town? No, right?
Easy there.
We'll get shot pretty quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
Why can't we take this path? Oh, it's not a path. But we can take this path. And let's check
There we go.
the signs. It says Van Horn and Ennisburg. Always like to read the signs to really get an in-game feel of where everything is. Of course I knew it approximately what it would say, but still. It's like a bit compulsive, just like reading the newspapers. It's a deep playthrough after all. You need to be a bit compulsive to execute deep playthroughs. By the way,
Okay.
what was this? It's pretty cool.
Yep.
This is like the mine entrance, or some kind of strengthening. It's just strengthening the wall. Just like in real life, a bit. Right, here we go. Oh. By the way, there was also like this pop-up when reading a newspaper, or... Yeah, I think it was at the start of this episode, like, that there are treasure maps that you can buy or find. And actually, I do have already
Easy
two.
now.
I didn't find any more. Saint Denis, Bridges Creek, Ennisburg.
Yep.
I really didn't find them in merchant's inventory or merchant stock, but I did stumble upon one or two, yeah, in game, I guess. Maybe in a strong box or something. But they are super hard to figure out because, yeah, it's a pretty big world and it doesn't say like in which region you should look. And I absolutely like that. Oh shit, wrong way. Like a challenge. But now I'm wondering, because of that pop-up, why that pop-up came. Because I do have two treasure maps already in my inventory. Is that because there are way more? Like it's way more common to get them? Because I really haven't seen them.
Hey, who's there?
Anywhere. That's a bit weird. For instance, I have like over here, no documents, no documents. I have like treasure maps. I had 3, and this is also super bad, I guess, It doesn't... they do not get marked off if you already found the treasure. Because I do think that one of these I already obtained. Not this one. And I have no idea where that face rock is. But maybe I will stumble upon it later in the game. Then we have like this one. And I do not think I have encountered this one yet, or found this one yet, so that's fine. Both of these I haven't found yet. No. Right, like so. And this one, if something should happen to me, my worldly possessions are stored here. I do think I found this one yet. But the thing is also, or maybe they do disappear when you found the treasure. Because there's another treasure that I found, and I'm pretty sure I had a map for it, which is not here anymore. So maybe I'm just confused, and maybe I simply haven't found any of these yet. And now I'm actually curious whether the name of the maps also give a clue. Jack Hell Gang Map. Shows a landmark and other clues to help find treasure. No, this is not a clue as to the region or whatever. The Poisonous Trail, same. Chick's treasure map, same. I have no idea. So it's like the whole map they could be. Yeah, of course not New Austin. We haven't explored that yet. But then going by purely only this as a guide, like, is not enough. There are so many trees, and with a little cabin in front of it, like at the number 1 I see like a little cabin, and then a road or something, and then a tree. I mean, by the way, I do think I already got this one. This is, I think, near Emerald Ranch. But even if I didn't get it yet, let's say I simply didn't immediately start looking for it, then this is just too little to go on. And can I check the map while having that, the regular map, while having the treasure map out? Yeah, it also doesn't indicate anything, like you should go looking for here or there. So yeah, you tell me. That would mean that each location where you find a cabin and with a tree near it, that you have to start looking. And that's like hardly doable, I would say. Let's check the map again, because maybe it is, because I found it, maybe it is shown on the map now, this treasure. It was, I guess, somewhere over here. And do we see a tree marking or a little cabin and then with a tree treasure symbol? Nope. Yeah, I actually think it was maybe over here or something, but it's not marked. Hades Bethel. Bethel? What the hell is Bethel? Metal? Nethel? I have no idea what it says. Anyways, that's a bit weird. Like, how the hell am I supposed to find it? Except maybe going online and getting hints, but that really feels like cheating. So anyways, I have 3 treasure maps in my possession, which makes it a bit weird that I got like that pop-up saying, oh, don't forget, you can buy treasure maps at the merchants or find them in the world. So I was a bit triggered by that, like what would be the reason of that message appearing. But anyways, we are meeting the time limit, or reaching the time limit for the episode, 40 minutes. I will continue immediately in the next episodes. Hope you enjoyed. It was, again, my apologies, a pretty boring episode. Reading a lot, figuring the treasure menus, making a bit of an inventory of the treasure maps that I have. Not the treasure menus, but the treasure map menu. So yeah, it was not the most exciting episode, but yeah, that's also part of a deep playthrough. It's part of the game, so part of automatically also part of the playthrough. Hope to see you in the next episode, in which we will immediately dive into a new mission. For the meantime, guys, do not ever forget to always keep on gaming. See you later.